I hope everyone enjoyed our little mingle. The food will still be available afterwards, so if you didn't have a chance to get all of the lox you wanted, we'll be offering that afterwards. One other thing. Thank you to the Solomons. They're the ones who did the spread for us. The Solomons do, yes. No, what was great is, so I called up Barry and Deanna, I think Monday. I said, is there any way you could help set everything up for me? And they were like, don't worry about it. It was like, press the easy button. It was amazing. Thank you so much. So I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. We do have a quorum. So I think we start with an opening prayer and invocation. Is that right, Rabbi?
I do want to share with everyone that for the purposes of people who are not here today, that the meeting is being recorded. So you're aware that the meeting is recorded. So we're going to start with a prayer that we do every time we meet as a board. I'd like you to join me in the words, and it reminds us of why we're here. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'tzorchei tzibur. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who has given us the responsibility to work sacredly for the needs of our community. And I want to focus in on those last words, to work sacredly for the needs of our community. We are a community, and we are a very diverse community, filled with people from different backgrounds, beliefs, practices, and experiences. And when we all come together, we come together as one. And that's what makes communities important. I looked up something today and found our Temple Sinai mission statement. So let's read this together. Temple Sinai is dedicated to enhancing Jewish life by providing religious, educational, and social programs that reflect the values, customs, and traditions of the Reform movement. We are a warm, friendly, and vibrant community where friendship and caring are combined with religious faith, ritual observance, social interaction, and education for children and adults. So in my world of traveling around the country and reading congregational mission statements, this is the Kol Bo statement. Kol Bo is Hebrew for everything's in it. So there's not much we don't do that falls within these parameters that we have listed. But we, as a community, make choices and do things that are meaningful and powerful. And most importantly, I believe that Temple Sinai is here to give this group of people who formed into a community an opportunity to not only live Jewish lives, but embrace opportunities that stretch beyond those definitions we bring. And that's what makes us a beautiful place. And on behalf of the staff and as a member of this congregation, I hope that this is a fruitful and enlightening annual meeting. Amen.
So this is the first time I ever used one of these microphones, kind of cool. So again, I want to welcome everyone here. I want to welcome everyone online who's viewing us today. I'm really happy to be up here. You know, we entered this year, it looked like a tough year, and it turned out to be an amazing year. And this was a good time to have a good year. We entered this year with a projected $115,000 deficit. But 1 year ago, I stood up here and I said, we're going to cut that in half. We did better than that. So our deficit is smaller than what we anticipated, which is right on line. We also, this is one of the key things that we needed to do over this past year, is identify the source of our financial challenges. And that's something else we accomplished. It was our long-term debt that was causing the main issues here. This year we're projecting a deficit of $16,000. This is the conservative budget that Tony's going to be presenting. I am 100% confident we are going to be profitable this coming year. I didn't think it was going to be possible until next year, but we're going to be profitable. So that's a major accomplishment. Now, reaching what we've achieved, we've had to make some difficult decisions, but sometimes difficult decisions bring opportunity. So, I want to talk about our religious school. Unfortunately, we could not afford a full-time educator, but we did not want to sacrifice the quality of our education. And so it was with great pleasure that I announced that Temple Sinai has hired Jason Levin as our new school principal. Jason has been a longtime member of Temple Sinai. He attended Hebrew school here. He taught, was it Hebrew school or just religious classes? He taught here as well. He's done a lot of great things, and to have him, it's simply amazing. Now, for those who don't know Jason, or should I say Dr. Levin, Jason has a PhD in education. He is the Director of Fine Arts for Caldwell ISD. He is moving back to the Houston area, which is what, next week? This week? Next week. I couldn't be happier. And I think our education program is going to be great this coming year. To help Jason, to help our wonderful teachers, we have bought an official school curriculum. This is very important. It gives us a very clear approach to teaching. We know what we're teaching. It's going to make our teachers even better than they already are. Our dedication to education is not limited to our religious school. Diane Statham was a long-time member of Temple Sinai. Diane passed away a few months ago. One thing that Diane loved was adult education. Anytime there was an educational program here at Temple Sinai, Diane was here, and she would always be the first person to ask a question. Diane loved Temple Sinai, and she showed her love. She gave us a gift, a very significant gift that is going to allow us to reach the future. So one of the things that we're going to be doing is the room next to us. We are changing it from room 1011 to the Diane Statham learning center. I think that's important. I mean, Diane was amazing. Not only that, we want to honor Diane in another way. Of the money that she left to us, that wonderful gift, we're creating an adult education fund, the Diane Statham, I forgot to write it down.
Lifelong learning.
The Diane Statham Lifelong Learning Fund, which is an endowment. We're putting $50,000 into this fund to start. It will be worked off of interest, so as the fund grows, we will be using that interest plus up to 1% of the principal to provide adult education programs. That's going to really provide us with some wonderful, wonderful learning opportunities. This summer, probably, we're going to be holding a dedication ceremony. It could be in the fall. What we want to do is be able to invite Diane's family to join us as we officially name room 1011 after Diane. We're using Diane's gift in other ways as well. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, when we looked at what our main challenge was, what was affecting us the most in terms of a financial situation, it was that long-term debt. We have always been very conservative in how we spent our money, and our only long-term debt was the mortgage. But as everyone remembers, we had an air conditioning system that went out, and we had to replace it, and it doubled our annual debt. But I have good news for everyone. As of last week, we no longer have a mortgage. We own this building free and clear. That cuts our annual debt servicing in half. But what's important is this is ours. Finally, this is ours. What we're going to do is during membership weekend this August, we're going to have a mortgage burning party. We have, because Diane was going through Cindy's file cabinet, we have 4 copies of the mortgage. And so this is what we're going to do. The first copy we're going to set afire is going to be done by a representative from the original group who funded this building. I think it's only appropriate that we honor them. Another copy is going to be burned by a representative of the Board of Trustees. The third is going to be a representative from one of our religious school parents. We often forget our religious school parents. They are an integral part of Temple Sinai. They have a vested interest in the future, and it's only appropriate that they be among those who honor Temple Sinai as well as Diane. The last copy, and I haven't talked to the people about this yet, and I hope it's proper. I would like Rabbi Lipper and Rabbi Annie to come together and burn that final copy. I think, go ahead, Eva, go ahead and clap. I could use a clap. So while I'm happy to share that our financial situation has greatly improved, we are not completely out of the woods. As I said, we have a projected deficit, one that we'll probably overcome, but we cannot let our foot off the gas pedal. We had a great fundraising year this past year. Mindy Foreman and the fundraising committee did an amazing job. We had a wonderful gala. With those who did the survey, we raised over $5,000. And for those who cleared out their closets of old shoes, we made $100. But you don't have useless shoes, so there's a benefit to everyone. And beyond, we need to invest in ourselves. What's going on for years and years, we've only just gotten by. That's not good enough. I don't want a synagogue in which we only get by. And so we are going to make some changes. Gifts from the Heart was a great and fabulous idea. Unfortunately, it didn't work. That was another major contributor. So what the Board of Trustees has voted on is a return to the old fair share system, which is an income-based sliding due system. But there's more to that. You cannot judge a person's financial capacity to give just on their income. We recognize that people have long-term medical bills that they're trying to pay off. We have people who, pay child support. Or you could be like myself and Erica with one kid in college, another one going to college starting actually in August. So this really is meant to be a fair share. We want based on people's capacity. And that's going to give us what we need to grow and invest in ourselves and do more things. But enough with the financial stuff. I don't like talking about financial, but I'm glad we paid off the mortgage. As you pulled into the parking lot today, as you walked into this building, when you parked your car, what did you see? Striped lines. We also, as you walked in, you saw those plants that have been done. We've removed dangerous trees that threaten the building. If they fell over, they would have basically crashed through. We've done that. We've been doing a lot of preventative actions, which is not something that we've traditionally focused on. And although he is in England right now, I'd like to have everyone give a big round of applause for Stuart Goosen. And of course, Stuart did not do it all by himself. We have Peter Bernstein, we have Tommy Westall, Brotherhood has helped out, there have been others who've contributed. So a lot has gone back into this building. It's continuing to go in that direction. So this coming, I guess, fall, Stuart is going to climb a ladder and go up onto the roof. Don't tell Sharon, okay? But that's his full attention. He's actually been up there. Our roof is in great shape. There's a couple of preventative things he wants to do. But, Stuart's just done a great job. Rabbi Lipper has made a huge impact on Temple Sinai. He's made a huge impact on myself. I credit being able to stand up here today and give a good financial report. A lot of that goes back to Rabbi Lipper. His ideas, his suggestions, and his actions have greatly helped our situation. I don't think people think Rabbi Lipper is just someone who stands up here, does a great service, and that's it. What you don't see is him being here until 7 o'clock at night, tutoring students, doing other things. You don't see how hard he works. And something else, I really hadn't put pen to paper. Rabbi Lipper, with his idea for Raise the Paddle, the past 2 years, he has helped us raise $150,000. We have asked Rabbi Lipper to stay beyond his contract. We would love for Rabbi Lipper to stay with us, and so we will be renewing Rabbi Lipper's contract. So let me wrap up. Thank you, everyone. You've been a big part of this synagogue. You've come out. I mean, our success is attributable to you, every one of you. So thank you. Oh, I forgot to say at the very beginning, We're being recorded, so.
Let me jump ahead. There. So, thank you, David. Thank you all for your work, for your support, for your action, for your heart that you have put into this place. It's all showing, and it's a beautiful thing to see. She was beautiful. That was the first thing people noticed about her. She was, as they say, a feast for the eyes. So spectacular she took your breath away. In her moods, stormy or bright, she was a radiant presence, full of color and light, intensely alive. You wanted to be near her. The next thing you noticed was her smile, so full of affection and humor and the sheer joy of being. Some beauties are remote and distant, intimidating in their perfection. But she was down to earth and touchable. She was a hugger, always reaching out to gather the people around her into her warm and loving embrace. She treasured her friends, and she was forever making new ones. You could see, if you look closely, that she was no longer young. The years had taken their toll, but her beauty was undiminished. It was, if anything, made deeper and richer by the passage of time. She was in the prime of her life, and she knew it. Strength and confidence shone from within her, and she carried herself with casual elegance and grace. Sure, there were some occasional flare-ups of aches and pains, and even some issues that came on her unexpectedly, but she kept busy and active, that nothing could cramp her style. Remember the things that count, she sometimes used to say. And when money was tight, she held fast to the things that matter most in life. She never lost hope. Hers was a brave and energetic spirit. She loved music. She loved to sing. She had a full and passionate voice. And she was a perpetual student, always learning new things and exploring new terrain. She cherished the past, but she refused to become a creature of habit. Most of all, she loved to be surrounded by children. All ages, it didn't matter, babies and little kids, even the most boisterous teenagers. Their laughter and energy kept her young, kept her open-minded and flexible, kept the spring in her step and the sparkle in her eye. No, it's not a person. It's a place. This sacred community that formed together 45 years ago. It's this sacred place, not just a building to me. You see, this room, this place of beauty and light and color, this center of Jewish learning and prayer that vibrates with spirited singing on Shabbat, this sanctuary that offers a warm and welcoming embrace, this holy place that is alive with our voices and the voices of our children. You see, it's not just a building to me. Our congregation has a personality. It's a personality that transcends all of our individual quirks and foibles. And when you've lived for 45 years, you start to figure out who you really are. You don't drive yourself crazy anymore, worrying about your image. You give up that exhausting struggle to be all things to all people. Life teaches you humility. You realize that Your resources aren't unlimited, and they must be used with care. You see things more clearly. You figure out what you want to do, and you do it with as much joy and integrity as you can. Picture the face of this learning congregation. Not just a synagogue which has many members engaged in learning, but a synagogue that strives continually to learn how to do things better. Thank you so much to Diane Statham, who gifted us the possibility of being the learning center for a whole new generation. Picture the faces of parents who bring their students on Sunday, and while their kids are in their own classroom, spend time studying or just visiting with other parents who are just trying to figure out how to better their children's Jewish lives. Picture the faces of our teachers who are involved in Jewish education not because of the money, certainly not because of the money, but because they care about our kids. Picture adults and teenagers who get up early on Shabbat morning so they can get together to study Torah or worship together. Picture rooms packed full on evenings of adults who meet to study together, whether it's Talmud or Torah or a host of other topics, adding their voices to our people's age-old conversation. Picture the faces of a praying congregation. The faces of those who fill our sanctuary on Friday nights to celebrate Shabbat with the beautiful music of Rabbi Ari. Or those students who grab drums and beat them to the beat of our sacred music, and sometimes the music that plays in their head. Or those students called to the bima at the very last moment to lead a prayer or read a passage as part of the rabbi's torture in preparing them for their bar mitzvah. Picture the face of a caring congregation, writing letters, sending cards, filling folks with food and challah when the need arises. Picture the faces of our board who keep us on a visionary path. They're present when called and help drive the congregation on the path of wholeness and peace. Picture this congregation that honors those caring volunteers for their deeds, the time they put in, week out. They deserve our thanks. Picture the staff. Chava as she charts her new course, and Cindy, who answers your calls, always on her cell phone. She deserves our thanks. For she provides support, reaching in, reaching out to all of you, filling the needs of our community. Such a glorious picture together, isn't it? Beautiful inside and out, multicolored, opened up to the light. Ours is a spirit that is brave and resilient, even in times like these, when money is tight, when many in our community are struggling. We do not compromise our essential values. We hold on to the things that matter most. Every congregation exists on a three-legged stool. Our congregation exists on these three legs, on leadership. People who stand up and say, Hineni, here I am. Yes, I'll do that task. I have an investment in this community, and I want to see it thrive. Community, it's all of you. It's when you show up tired after the end of a long work week and sit in the congregation and are reanimated by worship or friendship or conversation. It's when we show up and we stand up together. That's what community is. And when we're there for each other at all times, morning, noon, and night, and future. Any congregation that isn't casting its vision 5 to 10 years in the future will tread water and backpedal. And I believe this 45th anniversary of our congregation's founding has got to start focusing on what's going to look like for our 50th anniversary. Just 5 years away. And it's already time to start thinking. Our synagogue's mission remains grand and ambitious. We're in the business of transforming Jewish lives, of standing up for Israel, of saying to the Jewish people, of educating the next generation of Jewish leaders. Deep down in the core, we are a people of faith. Even in dark times like these, when anti-Semitism rears its ugliness and ignorance reigns, we do not despair. We know that we'll come through this and the future will be better. There's always a sunrise, even after the darkest of nights. There's always a rainbow after the hardest of storms. Let me be clear. We are not just a building. As beautiful and as warm as this building is, we aren't just a collection of programs. As creative and engaging as the programs are, we are the personality that radiates from this place and the spirit that animates our programs. Positive and dynamic, energetic and joyful, free-thinking, fiercely egalitarian, open, inclusive, democratic, outward-reaching, forward-looking, committed always to excellence. It is the spirit bequeathed to us from our founders, who did not want to make a synagogue just like all the others. It is the spirit we pass on to those who will come after us. There have been many changes over the past 45 years. There will be many more in the years to come. But we'll be true to our temple legacy and faithful to the vision of our ancestors. Looking ahead, we gather to give thanks for all that has been, for all that is still to be, for our incomparable professional team, each one of them a blessing, for our lay leadership who have given so much time and to whom we offer our gratitude, for a congregation in the prime of its life, healthy and strong, rich and potential, blessed above all with the laughter of beautiful, wonderful children. We're clothed in strength and fortitude and sustained by the spirit of our founders. We look to the future with cheer. I thank my beautiful wife, Dora, for enduring my unhealthy workaholic attitude, late nights and over-programmed weekends. But our work here has just begun, and I honor you every day for giving me the opportunity to serve. And I thank all of you, my precious congregants, for placing your trust in me and allowing me the privilege of serving as your rabbi. As we march forward together, let's recommit to the highest of ideals and the noblest of goals and build a sacred community for which we are proud to call our home. I share with you a photograph I took maybe 7, 8 years ago, climbing a mountain, or I wasn't climbing a mountain. I was walking on a path by a mountain when I caught sight of this mountain ram on this top of a cliff. Right? And I've kept that photo around because it is, for me, the most inspirational photo. What you can't see is that in the valley where we were was the family of this ram. Lots of women and little rams and all kind of doing whatever rams do at the valley. All right? And so I like to believe that this is us, that this is who we can be, that we can climb high, that we can all stand tall and proud of our community. And most of all, we can strengthen each other all along the way. Now I want to share with you just a few beats of a song that say those words.
We all stand together, we change the way we live, begin to stop the hatred, start reaching out to give. When we all stand together, no matter race or skin, we can learn forever how peace and love begin. When we all stand together, we all stand together. When we all stand together and look into our souls and discover in the future there's a world to behold. When we all stand together, each gathered in our homes, find our family unity, one but not alone. When we all stand together, we all stand
I'm truly honored to be here. I'm truly humbled with all of your involvement. And again, I thank you for allowing me to serve as your rabbi.
Okay, we are going now to, I'm looking at the agenda. Approval of the minutes for the annual meeting. All of you should have seen. Yes, sir.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Do I have a second? Okay, all in favor? Thank you, Stuart. Okay, next, we're going to have Cynthia Forrest come up to present our new slate. A couple of things first. Can I have all of the members, current members of the Board of Trustees, please stand? You guys have been so important to what we've accomplished this year. It's been a great, great team, and I just wanted to say thank you to each and every one of you. Let me mention by name. First, we need to give this person a lot of applause. You don't have to keep standing if you want to sit. Probably the person that we need to give the most applause to is myself. Our VP of Ritual, Diane Adler. Our VP of Long Range Planning, Taya Golden. VP of Education, Carol Levin. Thank you, Carol. VP of Administration, and one of the biggest influences on me, next to Rabbi Lipper, Ellen Neuwirth-Hirsch. Our treasurer, again, another key partner of mine, Tony Ross. Financial Secretary, Roger Rockman. Our committee liaison one, who a lot of the committees reported to, Jill Beach. Committee liaison two, Dale Berman. Membership, Eva Marmelstein. Communication, Jason Levin. Technology, Daniel Fick. Thank you, Daniel. And last but not least, Sharon Houston Caring. Hopefully I didn't miss anyone. Oh, how did I do that? Okay, now I'm a little red in the face. I'm sorry. Okay. A couple of changes. Cynthia's going to present the slate for this coming year's Board of Trustees. A couple of words on that. Since Jason Levin has joined us as a staff member, we do have an open position for VP of Education for this coming year. And we also, no, I think that's it. So, Miss Cynthia, the person who I forgot, but still love.
Hi. So this year, when David approached me about putting together a nominating committee, we were looking for a group of people that could put together a slate that could show how diverse and different our demographic is as we continue to change over the years. So I want to thank Taya Golden-Smith, Jason Levin, Franklin Allaire, and Norma Belkin for identifying and helping and contacting and meeting with me on Zoom, and all my chaos that is involved with that, for putting this slate together. So we hope that you guys look at this, love it, and approve it. So our executive committee that's continuing, for president, we have, what's your name? Oh, David. And then for VP of Ritual, Diane Adler, Long Range Planning, Taya Golden-Smith, and myself. Look at me. And then 2 years term for the new positions that are coming in. Like he mentioned, our VP of Administration position is currently open. Our Executive VP, Patrice Watts. Our VP of Leadership and Development, Ellen Neuwirth-Hirsch. Treasurer, Tony Ross. Financial Secretary, Roger Rockman. And a new VP of Education, Alan Ziegelman. Our trustees, Committee Liaison 1, Jill Beach. Committee Liaison 2, Carol Levin. Fundraising Committee Chair, Mindy Foreman. Social Engagement, Amanda Johnston, who is not here because she's representing our sisterhood on a trip to New Orleans, by the way. Membership, Eva Marmelstein. Communications, Leanne Baumel. Caring, Sharon Houston. And Technology, the man in the back, Daniel Fick. Should we ask for a motion to approve, or do you do that?
I need a motion from the floor to approve the new slate. Okay, we have several people who moved. Does someone, what?
I said Iris.
Okay,
Those are my
Iris.
notes.
By the way, you're writing all this down.
Of
right?
course I am.
Okay.
Right here.
She does great minutes. I love her
No, I
minutes.
do.
Do I have a second? Diane Adler. All in favor of the new slate? All opposed? Abstentions? Congratulations. I'd like the members of the new Board of Trustees to come up. You would like to, oh, I thought you were going to do a little prayer on them, but, okay, never mind. Thank you to our, thank you, Cynthia. Thank you, everyone. Moving on, Tony Ross with our financial reports. So what we're going to do is Tony is going to present the 24-25 budget. We're going to open up the floor. We have microphones to ask questions, so we're going to have a Q&A. And there we go.
All right, we go old school, analog backup, new school. So just, we just finished the month of May, so I just pulled the statements for May. Based on the Diane's gift to the temple, we will finish the year in the black. So between that and paying off the mortgage, a really great year. Up until that point, through April year-to-date, our revenues, including dues, we were running ahead of budget by $52,000. Our operating loss before debt service was actually positive $41,000 if you took out the last part of the HVAC replacement. In October, we paid about $100,000 for the final piece of the HVAC replacement. And as you recall, we borrowed the money to pay for the air conditioning because we did not want to fully deplete our reserves. And so taking the air conditioning out for the year, we actually, looks like even without Diane's gift, that we significantly cut the deficit for the year when we take out some of the one-time expenses. So didn't think it was possible. We thought we could slash the deficit by half last year. We've certainly well exceeded that this year. So that's great news. So as we emerge from COVID, I think we're maintain that momentum will be real important as we head to year 50. If you saw in your packet the proposed budget for this coming year, and for those who don't have any eyeballs, I think I made some bigger copies out back. Really what drove the budgeting process was we started with our mission and what's important to Temple Sinai. And so this is a conservative budget. Member commitments, about $328,000. That's a combination of expected increase in giving and maybe some new members. The rest of the revenues are already baked into the budget, already into the billing system, the security assessments and the maintenance revenue from that standpoint. We've done really well in recent years on our high holiday pledges. I think we're going to do even better this year, and particularly I think we'll get a lot of people hopefully in services. The high holidays fall around October 7th this year, so should be a very moving time. The one thing on the revenue side probably at risk is we need to maximize the use of this building by third parties, and so you'll see in the line item is rent for about 6 months for classrooms and space in the building. That's probably the only area of the budget that's at risk on the revenue side. On the expense side, conservative approach. We baked in inflation in there. We know what our insurance expenses costs up until next spring. So that's pretty well baked in. We know what we've run out the expenses at the normal run rate. We padded, this is an aging facility, we padded the budget for repairs at 20,000. I don't think we'll get there. The great work that Stuart did and his elves, a lot of, not just deferred maintenance they worked on this year, but a lot of ongoing preventative maintenance checks and services. When you do that stuff early, as us folks know in the Army, it's really helpful so the tank doesn't break down in the middle of the battle. So a lot of preventive maintenance has been done this year and continues, and Stuart has done a great job of cataloging it and prioritizing it. So I think we have a lot of opportunity to come in under budget on the repairs side, as well as some of the outside services. We put more money into membership, growing the membership, caring, and recruiting. So spending money to really, drive the next generation of Temple Sinai as we head to our 50th anniversary. We don't have the mortgage payment this coming year, hooray. And I think depending on how fundraising goes, we'll be able to kind of prepay portions of the HVAC loan as we go along. So that will be good. This is the first year we've broken out the education. Education is very important, and I think it's important for everybody to be able to see what that education budget looks like. So you'll see that in there. That's based on expected enrollment. We know what our costs are from that. We've already come in under budget on the curriculum, so that's good. So like most plans, as we're coming up on D-Day, as Eisenhower said, planning is essential. Or plans are worthless, but planning is essential. So our plan has already had first contact with the enemy, but it was a positive skirmish. So we're ahead on that front, and I think hopefully we'll continue to win the battles and all the skirmishes throughout the year. So while we are forecasting a slight deficit from that standpoint of 16,000, our reserves are around 200,000, so we've got cushion in our reserves and in other sources of possible income. So I would say it should be this budget is certainly well achievable. It's a conservative, achievable budget. I think we will beat it. Everybody go out there and recruit some tenants for the building, and we'll continue everybody's generous giving over that we've seen in the last 2 years to right-size the ship, and now we're heading in a great direction. Does anybody have any questions of me around the finances? Yes, sir.
So let's please come up to the, Ron, we're going to do the microphone so people at home can hear us.
Yeah.
Works. You have $41,000 for HVAC replacement debt on the budget. How much is the total cost of
I knew
that?
you were gonna
And
ask.
when do we figure we'll have that taken care
I'll
of?
give you the exact amount because I pulled the statement.
I figured you'd have that answer.
I have an old answer, which was 200.
I want the
oh,
new answer, not the
Okay.
old answer.
There it is. Operating, HVAC loan. Current principal balance on the HVAC loan is $269,000.
And I complain about 10 grand for a new unit. And how many years do you figure it's going to take us to pay that off?
Oh, well,
Assuming no prepayment.
Assuming we took under, I did the loan based on a 7-year amortization, I think, I
Okay.
actually can't recall. Our payment each month is $3,400, so we're basically paying right now and it will increase. But right now, we're paying down about $1,800 in principal a month, so that will continue the way mortgages work, you know.
Okay. Thank you for that. Is there a balance sheet available?
Yes, I can get one out. I was waiting for the May statements for me to balance the statement. But if you
Okay.
want to know the balance sheet for the, if you get with me right after this, I'll show you the April balance sheet. No problem. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
How much are you putting away every year for risk or contingencies? that
Yeah,
will
well, that's the issue, is we have been running a deficit the last couple of years, so we've not been putting money aside. So,
So let me add to that. So we are going to be putting a portion of Diane Stathem's gift into, back into reserves to replenish. But right now, we're not in a position to, yes, ma'am.
How will that be managed? Will it be in an interest-bearing account?
Yeah.
Will it be in equities so it can grow?
so our accounts, our reserves are in a Fidelity account, primarily money markets. There's a small bit of equities. Some people, when they pay their dues, they'll contribute stock. A couple of those I've kept actually they're actually an ETF fund that's doing very well. So I look at that each month, but that's right now. And as we stabilize this, we'll go back, because we did an exercise 2 years ago where we looked at potentially laddering treasuries out, putting in a ladder of longer-term treasuries that have a higher interest rate, and we'll revisit that analysis. The issue, we didn't do it because we weren't sure really where we were 2 years ago, and so we didn't want to lock in investments long-term.
There's also, I think it's in the bylaw, a prohibition on certain types of investments like buying stock.
Yeah.
Yeah, please come up to the microphone.
Please use the microphone so the people.
Not the,
What is the ETF fund you're using?
Pardon?
we have to.
ETF fund that you're investing, what are you using?
I don't recall off the top of my head.
I mean, is it an S&P 500
Yeah,
fund?
yeah,
or
yeah,
Something like that?
yeah, yeah. And if you see me afterwards, I'll pull up the statement from April, and you can take a look at it. Please come up.
I feel like I'm a little ignorant on this question. Okay, so I see a net cash operating income and, as it turns out, deficit of 15,000. But then what is the accounting loss of 77,000?
Yeah, so we depreciate, it's an accounting practice where we depreciate, we don't depreciate the land, but we depreciate the building and the fixed assets. It's a proxy for the wear of the building and of the HVAC. Ideally, we would be reserving that amount every year, but it's a non-cash. It's not, we don't write a check for depreciation.
Okay. So the operating income deficit, so are we actually going to be in the whole 15,000 something
Yes,
that we have to take from the reserves?
correct.
No, actually not necessarily. It all depends on the income coming in.
Yeah.
Technically, if things don't work out the way that we're anticipating, we would have to, but this past year, we had to do that less than we anticipated. Other questions, please? One second, Peter. You got someone rushing ahead of you.
When will we know how much religious school will be? And then when is the new member dues due?
The dues are effective July 1st.
Okay.
We'll be coming out with the religious school fees, but they're the same as last year.
They're the same as last year. They were in the board, they were in the membership packet that went out.
Okay.
So we did not touch the fees this
Okay.
year.
Okay, thank you.
Question on school revenue, teachers and principal, 41,000. What is that? Bottom of second page.
Going all the way
The 41, yeah, that's
Yeah,
the principal's salary and the teacher's salaries and taxes. The curriculum is separate. The curriculum was budgeted at 10,000.
Why is it called school revenue?
That's the line item above. So then it went school revenue 48,000 less 10 less 41 less 10,000.
other questions? I thought I saw someone wanting to ask a question after Peter. No? Okay.
Motion.
Yes, let's have a motion to approve the 2024-2025 budget. Stewart again. Ron, we give you the honor to show up in the minutes. Dave, you were already in the minutes, so stop. No more raising hands. Okay, all in favor? All opposed? Abstentions? Okay, the ayes have it.
All right.
Thank you very much, everyone.
And and I want to thank David's leadership, Rabbi's leadership, and all the input from the board members. You know, I'm just the scorekeeper. So I'm the paid pessimist. That's why you got a pessimistic budget. I know we're going to beat it.
Yes, so right now we're opening up to just general questions. Anything you want to ask, we're hopefully an open slate unless you ask something that I don't want to tell you. Please.
You know, we are blessed in a lot of ways in this congregation, but one of the things that we don't do so well sometimes is acknowledge the hard work that both behind the scenes and in front of the scenes that some of our volunteers do. And especially at this point, we need to recognize and honor Tony's work for the really outstanding financial management he's given the company.
Thank you. Other questions, statements? Yes. Go ahead, Mike, and then.
Just a quick question. There's a different role in the board of executive vice president. Can you define the role, please?
Yes, so in the second year of a president's term, there is a position called executive vice president. It is an individual who is likely to become the next president following the current president. It's meant to be a training ground, get familiar with the role. And so Patrice is our executive vice president, and she's going to have one heck of a year with me. No? Okay. Yes.
Sorry, one other thing. It was mentioned several times that this temple was founded 45 years ago. And as such, we all stand on the shoulders of giants. And we recently lost one of those giants. Helene Kramer, wife of the late Marshall Kramer, who also recently deceased, were founding members of this temple. They were not only pillars of the Katy community, but pillars of the Jewish community. And so I'd like for all of us to acknowledge their passing and the contribution they have made.
Thank you. Anyone else? Otherwise, get to talk until next year, and I won't be standing here. So, okay. What else do we have? Rabbi Lipper. Let's do a closing blessing. Oh, and one last thing, because I think Rabbi takes it from here. The food is still available, so if you came a little late or you're still hungry, please go and enjoy bagels, lox, and fruit, and all the wonderful things that the Solomons provided. There is one restriction, the cream cheese with the chives. Please do not eat that. That's my favorite, and I want to make sure there's plenty for me. Thank you, everyone.
And David, one correction. Next year you will be standing here because you have to run the meeting.
Actually, if what I remember from last year, Diane made me do it. And so
Well,
I'm going to make Patrice do it.
But that would, So, we have so much to be grateful for, so much to be proud of, and so much to look forward to in the coming years. And as a community, I really do believe that we can climb high, we can stand tall, and we can strengthen each other. And we do that every single day. Phone calls, texts, emails, pats on the back, hugs in the hallway, embracing each other's lives as we do every Shabbat. When I say, do you have a simcha? And people share their lives. That's what being in a community really, really means. And the more we do that, the more we become the envy of other communities. And envy is not a great thing, but it is for us just a way of being, a way of behaving. So, as we conclude, please rise. Get next to someone. Don't stand by yourself, Tony. David, come over here. If you're by yourself, get next to someone. We know these words. We know these words. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and protect you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'choneka. May God's countenance shine upon you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God always look down upon you and give you and those you love health and happiness and peace. Amen.
Okay, do I have a second on adjournment? Erica Schwam, all in favor? The ayes have it.